You hear the sound before you see what is making it. It is low and steady, like something heavy pushing through the plants. The air is hot and dusty. Not rainforest humid, but thick in the throat, the way air feels near smoke or ash. Above you, the sky is not blue. It is a pale, dry tan. The sun hangs lower than you expect. The trees are unfamiliar too. Tall conifers, no flowers, no fruit, no broad leafy canopy. Ferns cover the ground, some of them high enough to brush against your chest. This is not a park. It is not a nature reserve. This is Earth, about 75 million years ago, during the Late Cretaceous. And what you are seeing is not a monster movie. It is an ordinary day inside a living ecosystem. We often imagine the age of dinosaurs as one long chase. Predator, prey, teeth, impact, silence. Then another chase, but most of life was not like that. Most of life was slower, busier, more routine. So let's follow one day from dawn. The first light arrives before the sun itself. A dull orange glow spreads along the horizon. Before the world is fully visible, animals are already moving. Small feathered theropods are among the first to appear. They are bipedal dinosaurs, some around the size of a turkey, quick on their feet, with sharp eyes and nervous, precise movements. These are not the slow giants people often picture when they hear the word dinosaur. They are alert, active, restless. Many of them were probably warm-blooded, or at least much closer to that than to the sluggish reptiles of old popular imagination. Fossils from places like the Hell Creek Formation in Montana help build that picture. Bone structure, growth patterns, and bone density all suggest animals with high metabolic activity. In plain terms, these were not cold, sleepy creatures waiting for the sun to warm them. They had bodies built for movement. They hunt insects. They snap at lizards. Now and then, they catch a small mammal. Mammals are here too, though they are easy to miss. They are small, mostly active at night, and they spend much of their time hidden in burrows or under cover. They are not in charge of this world yet. For now, survival means staying out of sight. By mid-morning, the temperature has risen. The plants begin to shift. A herd of hadrosaurs is moving through. Hadrosaurs are often called duck-billed dinosaurs because of the broad, flattened shape of their snouts. They were among the most successful herbivores of the Late Cretaceous. Some grew 9 to 12 meters long, and many appear to have lived and moved in groups. Trackways in North America and Asia show animals walking together, leaving parallel prints and overlapping paths in the mud. Bone beds tell a similar story. At the Danek bone bed in Alberta, paleontologists found the remains of multiple Edmontosaurus individuals in the same deposit. The arrangement of the bones suggests a group that died together, not isolated animals swept in from different places at different times. It is not a perfect window into behavior, but it is strong evidence that these animals were often social. Now imagine them passing in front of you. There may be 20 of them, moving at an easy pace through a gap between stands of conifers. The adults are enormous. Each step lands heavily, with a dull thud and the crack of crushed plants. Younger animals stay closer to the middle. Larger adults drift along the outside. No one planned this. It is simply the kind of arrangement that makes sense in a world where predators exist. They feed as they walk. Hadrosaur teeth were built for heavy use. Instead of relying on a single row of teeth, they had dental batteries, tightly packed stacks of replacement teeth that moved forward as older teeth wore down. That allowed them to grind through tough, fibrous plants in huge amounts. It was one of the reasons they thrived in so many places. They could eat what many other animals could not. You stand near the tree line and watch them pass. You smell them before they come close. Warm animal musk mixed with the bitter scent of crushed ferns. One animal stops about 20 meters away. It turns its head and looks at you. Its eye is large and dark. For a few seconds, it seems to weigh you up. Then it moves on. You are not interesting enough to matter. That is what much of the Cretaceous would probably feel like if you could stand inside it. Not constant violence, not endless roaring, just movement, feeding, heat, calls, insects, footsteps, and animals doing what they need to do to get through the day. By late afternoon, the mood changes. Something has disturbed the herd. The animals on the outside pull closer together. Several heads rise from the plants. The low contact calls that had been passing between them stop. A tyrannosaur does not need to announce itself. Tyrannosaurus rex is often argued about as if it had to be either a sprinter or a slow scavenger. The truth was probably less simple. A full-grown T-Rex was enormous, and biomechanical studies of its legs suggest it was not built for long, high-speed chases. It could move with purpose, and probably faster than a casual walk when it needed to. But it was not going to run down a healthy adult hadrosaur across open ground for very long. It did not have to. A predator that large could use cover, timing, and surprise. It could also scavenge when the opportunity came. The best targets were the young, the injured, the sick, or the animal that drifted too far from the group. The herd breaks. What had been a loose, steady formation becomes scattered motion. Adults turn sharply. Juveniles lose the middle. Ferns snap underfoot. Heavy bodies crash through plants in several directions at once. The tyrannosaur rushes only as far as it needs to. Then it slows. If it has missed its chance, it does not keep chasing forever. That is another thing popular reconstructions often get wrong. Predators fail all the time. In modern ecosystems, most hunts do not end in a kill. That is not a flaw in the system. It is part of how the system keeps going. Prey animals survive more often than they die. Predators eat often enough to live, not often enough to empty the landscape. The herd will regroup. Not perfectly, not immediately, but it will. As the afternoon fades, the light softens. The temperature drops a little, though the world remains warm. The Late Cretaceous was much warmer than the world we know today. There were no polar ice caps. Shallow seas covered large parts of North America. The western interior seaway cut through the continent, creating warm, wet coastal environments along its margins. This place belongs to that kind of world, swampy, green, and alive even after dark. Night comes slowly. Different animals begin to move. Small nocturnal mammals leave their cover. Small theropods slip through the undergrowth, some likely better suited to low light than their daytime relatives. Pterosaurs pass low over open water, hunting by sight. Early birds share the air with them, though they are not yet the birds of the modern world. The hadrosaur herd has settled. They probably do not sleep the way humans do, stretched out and deeply unconscious for hours. More likely, they rest in shifts and stages. Some lower their heads, others remain alert. We infer some of this from living birds, the descendants of theropod dinosaurs, and from what fossils suggest about dinosaur growth, metabolism, and behavior. Above them, the stars burn as they always have. The constellations are not the ones we know. The continents are in different places, and tens of millions of years will change the view of the sky. But the physics is the same. Light travels. Gravity holds. Bodies live, feed, rest, and die. By the time pale light returns, the place has changed again in small ways. Insects have fed. Mammals have gone back underground. Ferns crushed under hadrosaur feet have begun to lift themselves. The conifers stand over everything, unchanged. Somewhere beyond the trees, the tyrannosaur that failed to feed yesterday is moving again. It is not in a hurry. It does not need to be. Hunger gives it a reason to move, but not every movement has to end in a kill. It only needs the odds to work in its favor often enough. That is what one ordinary day in the Cretaceous shows us. Life was not built around constant drama. It was built around persistence, feeding, escaping, resting, failing, trying again. For millions of years, that was enough. Enough for herds to keep moving. Enough for predators to keep hunting. Enough for small mammals to stay hidden through the long age of dinosaurs. Then, 66 million years ago, the asteroid came. Most of this world vanished, but something small, warm, and easy to overlook made it through. Much later, one branch of that survival would become curious enough to study the bones, read the rocks, and try to imagine a day like this. The low sound in the undergrowth, the heat in the air, the ferns straightening again in the morning light. Not a lost fantasy world. Just Earth, doing what Earth has always done. Changing, surviving, and leaving traces behind.